My name is Burnell Sumpter. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County, 11/21/40. I went to school in Jacksonville, played 5 sports, played basketball, football, baseball, track, and swim. I was the most valuable player in high school, most school spirit, because I played 5 sports, so I wasn't too much that I wasn't ready for. The running and the jumping and climbing the ropes and all that stuff. It was just natural. Well, in high school, something we weren't supposed to be doing, we schools, it was at that particular time, it was not integrated. It was segregated, but each school sent a note around, or the word get around that each school have to have a person jump off the pier at the beach. And I was one chosen for my school, Northwestern. So I dived off the pier a couple of times, and we swam back to shore. So each school had a particular person to dive off the bridge till the police stopped us.
No, was it in high school that you earned the nickname Hamp?
Yep, that name, that nickname was what we had during that particular time. We called it a do, but the thing was it was called a process where we curled our hair. So during that particular time, when I walked back to my 12th grade year, I came back with a do and a suit with a briefcase and an umbrella. So they was calling me Mr. Handsome. And then after a while, everybody started calling me Handsome. But when football season was, it was time for practice, and the coach told me if I wanted to play football, I had to cut my hair. So I wanted to play football in sports, so I cut my hair. So then they changed my name to Hamp instead of Handsome. They just cut off the Handsome. There was a 38 special in my locker in my 3 years at school every day. There was a 38 special, you know, a little 38. I thought I was caught one day because I was writing, well, I was selling late slips. I was selling late slips. The teacher said, "What you got in there?" And she came up on me so fast, and she said, "Give me that." And I had just covered up the pistol, but I thought she saw it because I didn't know how long she was watching me. I said, "Oh, I'm going to jail now." But she said, "Give me that book." So I gave her the book. I gave it to her graciously, and I shut my locker real quick. Well, what happened, I got in a couple of fights when I was in high school. So the scout that come to get me in college, the coach told him not to take me because I would tear up his college. So when I was in high school, I went to jail my 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. You know what I was doing, though? Knocking them out.
Who were you knocking out?
Guys
Like from your high school?
from other high schools coming on our campus. At a dance, they came and got me from school because the school throwed a dance. A couple of guys come in talking that noise. I knocked both of them out. And the parents got mad, you know, told the principal, put him in jail. He ain't had no business knocking them boys out. He ain't got no business bothering them boys. So they could have came to the party too, you know, I mean to the dance too. They paid their money, but it was our school dance and they come in talking noise.
So they're
Another thing that about me was in the neighborhood knew the wife beaters. Them guys, wife beaters on Halloween. Them wives come to me and say,
you'd go jump them?
me and my boys. We spank them. We don't let them know that the wife had done told us.
Yeah.
I was a gangbanger. I had went to jail for a few times, but it wasn't for fighting. So anyway, I learned how to box a little bit. So everybody I hit, I would just about knock them out. So that's what made me so dangerous. I wasn't doing any stealing. I was just a fighter. You said I had a color clothes on I didn't like, I'd hit you. So I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. So I never did that because I was an athlete. I was an athlete that didn't go anywhere. I made all conference, all city announced. I just didn't go anywhere to play sports. Actually, a young man woke me up when I had put on some clothes, and I would change clothes 2 or 3 times a day. And the guy was telling me how nice I looked, and I went off on him. I pulled my knife out. I said, I'll cut you up in so many pieces, every dog in Jacksonville will get a piece of you. He said, well, what I did to you, Amp? I said, you ain't got to tell me how I look. I know how I look. And I just went off on the man. He said, I ain't did that. I said, I'm sorry. And I came back home. I said, Lord, you got to help me. That man ain't did nothing to me. And I prayed and came in and went to sleep. The next week, that's when a letter came for me to go to Vietnam. I guess, ain't no guess. The Lord said, well, he want to fight, I'm going to put him where he can go to fight. I wound up getting drafted by the Army, but I chose to go to the Marines. I thought I had missed the draft, so they drafted me, which was a great thing, because I was headed to the chain gang. After I got drafted, that's when I joined the Marine Corps when I was 25, which was good. It was a blessing because that saved me. I had one foot in the graveyard and the other one in prison. So the Marine Corps was the best way to go. Yes, I decided I would be a Marine than go in another service. I thought I was getting away with something until I got in the Marine Corps. Well, it wasn't like I thought it was, but it was good for me because they said the Marine was the best. So I was in amongst that. So I was ready to get whatever they dish out. And I remember when I first went there, they would always tell me, because the way I look, when they tell me something, the way I look at one of them, they would always say, "You too, Sergeant. I mean, you too, Sumpter, Private Sumpter." They would always, this goes for you too. So I had to do a lot of stuff that I love to do anyway. I had a few bodies every day that I took through exercise and training so they could lose weight to become a Marine. And so they just threw the rabbit in the brow patch because I already, was coaching guys at that particular time. So I was a honor guard at one time. Then they took that back from me because I had the whole platoon marching one day, and they said that wasn't the way it was supposed to do. I was just supposed to have one squad, and I took the whole platoon. So they took that from me. I was a leader from the beginning, I guess, because everybody came to me, I voiced my opinion, and if you didn't like it, you got hit. From when I went to California to take some more training, they just put me in my MOS was what it was. What did they call it?
0311 infantry?
03, yeah, infantry. I just went on and did what I had to do.
How did you feel? Were you kind of excited at this point? You were a bit of a fighter. Did your fighter spirit have any?
Well, anything they had me doing, I was a hard worker at everything I put my hands on anyway. I wasn't too much that I could not learn to do because we had to clean the bathrooms and things like that, and I had a couple of people over me. And then when they see I had everybody working, and I was standing over telling them what to do. So that went on all the way through just about boot camp. And when I caught the ship going over to Vietnam, I found myself doing the same thing. Any group I got in, I found out that I was in charge of them.
So you went directly from training to Vietnam?
Yes, we went to, we caught the ship. It took us, I think, 16 days or something like that to get over. We stopped and got supplies in one place and went on over. And that's when I became in my company. Yeah, some of us went to Mike Company and others went to Lima and all that. I think I had 5 guys that I know that came to Mike Company with me that was on the ship.
So what are your first memories of Vietnam?
Well, my first memories of, I was curious, and I talked to a lot of the older Marines that had been there for a little while to get a overall view of what we was there to do and what to expect out of the Vietnamese that we were there for. The weather, here in Florida, it's off and on. It's very little cold used to come through. I was used to that, so it didn't bother me. The walking and the climbing them hills and doing that, it was just a thing with me because I was an athlete anyway. So our first operation, I was in second squad, and I met my squad leader. We went on a couple of marches in the bush, and I watched him and to see what he would do and where I was. So I had a fire team. I was a fire team leader. Then after the first operation, we lost quite a few guys. And when it wound up, it was 4 of us. I think it was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was 4 of us left we was the point squad, so we got right into it all. So that means quite a few people got killed right then. Well, part of the squad got killed. And that left me as I wound up as a squad leader in the next day. And it was about, I think it was 5 of us. So I wound up a squad leader. So I had to learn fast, but by me being an athlete, certain things you have to do, you have to learn fast. Like when you're playing ball or something, you have to do things. Sometimes you have the court sent in something, you have to do something a little different because it's you. And that's the way I was.
So you get there around October '66, and then Operation Desoto kicks off in January '67. Can you explain or describe your experiences going into Operation Desoto?
It was actually after that first one, and I had to come back with a platoon. I learned fast. It was just like I was a regular Marine then. It didn't take me long to see men killed and saw death like I saw it. It's just like you polishing a shoe. You know how to polish your boots. You're learning how to do that real fast when somebody come in to check you and get you right. So it was a thing with me. It was for real. When I found out that people were getting killed, and I saw them for myself, then I knew this was real. So it didn't take me long to learn how to be a squad leader or be a leader, because I was a leader a long time.
Now, what's going through your mind when you're coming from the world to Vietnam and you're seeing men killed the way they're being killed?
Well, it hurt you, and then especially that's why you learn to say don't get too buddy with people, and then you find out why, and that was one of the reasons why. And then you said, oh, I know why they said don't get too close to people, and because they might not be there the next day. So that taught me a lesson. But opened my mind up that to be one of the better Marines, that be the best you can be while you can. So that's the way I took it. Well, I think what happened, we walked into the trap and didn't know it. So my squad, that's why we were cut down like it was. So we were shooting, and you hear bullets flying, and then you hear zap, zap, and you knew somebody had gotten hit. And especially with bodies falling around you, and you're running across the rice paddies trying to get to a certain spot, and then you see them disappear. It's just one of those type things. That really woke me up, because me and my buddy that we came on the ship with, a guy named Woods, he's one of the ones that came to my company with me, and then to put the second platoon. We were we were picking up bodies, and we looked at each other and said, "Goodness, they just throwing the bodies around like that?" And they said, "Well, they dead." So anyway, we were loading the Chinook with the bodies, and we heard something kept crack, 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 and that was them firing. I was a sniper that was shooting at the helicopters, trying to hit the pilot, which they did hit the gunner at that time. And as we was loading the bodies on, we had to drop one, because when the gunner got hit, after the sound zap, something happening. So when I heard the zap and I looked over, I thought the pilot had got hit, but it wasn't the pilot. It was the gunner that was shooting outside of the window. And when you heard that word, they heard that sound zap, something has got hit, whether it's the wall or something. So that's how I knew.
Did you see him go down?
No, he couldn't go down because he was strapped in. He was hitting in the side of the head, and it came through the tongue. I mean, it just busted all that open, and it came out of his mouth. I told the pilot, I hollered up there to him, and he looked back, and I gave him the word to take off, because the gunner had got hit, and he took off, and one of the bodies we dropped off, and we flew back to camp, and I had to bring a platoon back to take the place of the people that had gotten killed. And we went on through with when I marched back, carried them back, we marched back to the place that we were, where they had spanked our butts. And they did hang a flag up. They put their flag up as a victory. Didn't like it. So that creamed me pretty good. I said, well, that's all right. We're going to get you back. And that's when I began to be a squad leader. So I named my squad the Dirty Dirty.
We're into March of 1967, and you're on a patrol. Can you describe March 1967?
Well, was trying to, let me see, on that, when I got wounded, somebody tripped a bouncing Betty ahead of us, because there was a squad ahead of us. And when the bouncing Betty came, I think it hit about 4 people. I believe it did. I know I was one of them. I don't know exactly. One got killed. I don't know who it was. But anyway, that's when I got wounded. And that's all they do. They flew me out to a place. That's all I can remember about that. They flew me to some little place. I don't forget where it was, but it was a kind of medical facility. It had basketball courts and all that. So that's where I kind of recuperated. Plus, wherever it was, anyway, that was a recuperation. I boxed and everything there, recuperating.
So you're there for a month. So you come back to my company after being wounded in the spring.
Right.
And now you guys are making your way up to the Arizona territory. Can you describe first going to Hill 25 and 52 and what you guys were doing that summer?
When I went back, one of the sergeants gave me they had my machete waiting on me. They had them sharpened it up. And we was at Hill 25, and we looked around and all that. So that's when I named my squad the Dirty Dozen. Then after I took over again, after I became, it was new people, but I named it the Dirty Dozen. And they went from there.
Can you describe why they had a machete waiting for you and why they sharpened it?
Well, for some reason or another, they knew that was my stuff, and so I told them, I asked them about it. They had it waiting on me. No, I just carried that machete. I did get a few heads as we went on ambushes and patrols. I know one, our first ambush, there was a squad leader, and lo and behold, when I hit her hat, I found out it was a she. So I took all her hair, and I used to wear her hair on the back of my helmet, until I gave it to one of the guys, and they sent it home. I thought it was a man that was leading them because she had a pistol. So when I took the helmet off, I found out that she had hair. So I just took that long hair and cut it off. No, we had set an ambush for them, and that was one of the places that they told us that they showed me on the map where they was crossing that to get to what's the name of the hill? The
Charlie Ridge.
Charlie Ridge. I had them to sit in there and cut them off. Didn't know that they was gonna come directly at us, and they just came across there like nothing was happening. And that's the one that one of the guys tripped. That's the one supposed to trip. He said, I act like we wasn't going to shoot. I said, I didn't tell you to shoot.
And this is right after you had gotten off of being wounded, and you're in the Arizona territory, stationed on Hill 25 and Hill 52. This is one of your first ambushes. So you want to get some payback for what happened to you at DeSoto.
Right. That's definitely so.
And you're probably a little heated because you lost almost your entire squad while you were out at DeSoto from wounds or killed.
Oh, yeah, yes, I was a member of the squad that we lost all those people, so payback. From then on, that's what I called it. Because we, one night we went out, rifles are so dark, the moon wasn't nowhere. We had to hold the butt of the rifles. That's how we kept up with each other. I did not use a point man at night. If I knew once they give us where we going, I would always take point. And that's how it was with me. So that's why the squad, and my squad was always happy of me or know what I was doing, because I cared about them. I said, well, we're not going to lose. We're not going to do like that, rush into certain things. So they sent my squad man their own certain spots when they know people come by that way. So that gave me an edge. It was the night we got close to the village, this man, he come with a sack of rice and a rifle. So I told him he was mine. So I just tipped up. When he got there, I hit him with my machete and came up. And everybody said, ooh. But from then on, we had a thing, Sarge, I want to be next. And we had that in the squad. Another thing we had, when I got back from my recovery, they had a new set of M16s, and they said the bullet tumble, and if you shoot a person in the head, it busts open like a watermelon. And we found that out. So I had everybody say, well, I'm next, to take, once we make sure, even when we on an ambush or we on a night patrol, somebody wanted to do the watermelon, we would always call it the watermelon. Right. So we know what we was talking about.
So just to be clear, this is when your squad is on patrols or ambushes. These aren't people you've captured. This is during the ambush, you attacked them and guys wanted to knife them or shoot them first. It wasn't once they were caught. So your guys were chomping at the bit to get the first crack at the enemy, is what you're saying.
Right.
Like you did with the enemy walking down that trail. So you just walked right up on him, surprised him, and just used your machete?
We saw them coming. So you got, you lay down, and he just coming on anyway. So he been doing, I guess when you get used to something, you know ain't nobody supposed to be there. So there it was.
So you jumped in front of him on the trail, out in the open,
right?
And took a swing. And once you did that, did your men open fire on the other ones?
No. This was just one at that particular time. He had a sack of rice and a rifle. Yeah, he was getting food. I guess he's going back to his place or to the village because, you know, they comes back to the village at night. One ambush we was on, this guy was coming through there, and I suppose that we can't shoot because if we wake up them fools over there, and it's going to be a war right here, we might not get out of here. And he said, it's my time to get one now. Boy, the guy came out the village to get something. And he was talking to some other guy. He said, yeah, that's VC all night. I said, go ahead on, get him. He yours. I mean, he had that Jim Bowie now. And he chopped him. And we hung him up on the village gate and put an ace of spades in his mouth.
Wow. How did he get him? So you guys stayed in your position and he snuck down there and just jumped him?
Yeah, he wasn't ready for that. Because he didn't know nobody was there.
Did any of your other guys do stuff like that? Sneak up on
Yeah,
them?
who else was it? Because everybody wanted to be, to get some. I'm trying to think, who was the last one? The individual killing, like we, especially if we go on a night patrol. And I was always careful that we be very quiet and just speak sign language, you know, with our hands. And the way when we sit down and rest, quite naturally we face outward. And the radio was muffled. And if something coming our way, we were just like a snake on it. You know, so we didn't do a lot of shooting at night. Most of our shooting, my shooting was in the daytime. Because I didn't know, at night, I didn't know where people was. And we only had few people. See, I might take 5 men out and go hunting at night. Because they ain't got a lot of nobody running around. I ain't got to worry about anybody. So, ain't gonna vote know how when I went out. I always did. It was always something that I would tell him when we come back. Now I don't know whether he wrote it down or whatever. But we all, you know, each what got anything? Oh, we got one or two tipping through the boonies, and we went on and made them disappear. So I don't know whether he put all that down or not. I said, I'm here to kill and fight and you know, whatever, but
impressive. It's almost like you're looking at your squad as like they're your little brothers. Can you describe how you felt about your squad? And if that's true, like, is that what your concern was?
Yeah, I told him, I said, I want to go back home, and I know y'all want to go back home. So I'm a little older than y'all. So y'all are like my little brothers because I'm a little older than y'all. So I'm going to be in charge, and we all want to go home. So we're going to protect each other. And that's what I tried to put in their heads. And I had all of them to learn how to call in artillery and learn how to call in airstrike. I would always say, where are we now? after we done gone on a march somewhere. Where are we now? Suppose I get hit. What you gonna do? So all my peoples, and then I had one, Sanchez said, I can't learn this. I said, yes, you can. You're gonna learn it before you leave here. And every day I would, bother with him and tell him, find us where we are. He used to get mad a lot of times. Why you always there? I said, because I want you to know this. You might be a squad leader one day. I won't be no squad leader.
Tell me some stories about the Dirty Dozen. Your squad, tell me about them.
Well, when I got back and named them, we was just a bundle of joy, really. Everybody really wanted to come be with me, or somebody wanted to go out with me. I don't care how it was, whether we had our people or not. Somebody always extra wanted to go out with me, or can they go out with me? The only people that I could take out, I already had my gunner, my automatic rifleman, because he did that the first time he was with me, Pappy. He's a gunner, the automatic. Now they got their own group now, but he would always go out with me. After that first ambush, look on that paper there, Pappy, right here, right here with the Dirty Dozen there. They got Sanchez.
Gerald Pappy Smith.
Right.
From Flemington, West Virginia.
Right. Because the gunners, they had their own little group. But he asked me, he said, I want to be with you. Anytime you leave this here, I want to be your gunner. He said, can you make that happen? I said, yes, I can. So anytime we left, he was the man. Because he asked me.
And so you guys had kind of a bond there. He liked to go out with you.
Oh yeah, we still, because he visited me here about 3 months ago. He came here. Him and his grandchildren and his wife.
So you stayed tight with him.
Yeah, we Memo and Poster. I talked with Poster a few nights back. So we bond. They knew I was trying to. We were trying to come back home. That's the main thing we were trying to do. And if I could teach a person, regardless, whatever, something good like that, we want to get back. We never had any ruckuses or nothing like that. So.
You guys did everything together?
Just about. Trade, sea rations, and everything else. We just had a bond. And
now it sounds like from this conversation that you were one older, I would say very experienced for a kid getting into the Marine Corps. So did you feel like a lot of the young kids coming in were a lot more naive than you were of the world because you had already essentially seen combat, seen strife, seen fighting as a kid?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of them. Then there was a lot of them truly scared. I might have told you this. I never heard so many kids holler, "Mama." They scream for mama. Because everybody mostly came to me for something. The squad leader or some of their people. Just like I tell them, why you, the man ain't gonna tell you no, you just go and talk to him.
Right. It seems like
I guess
you're
because
older.
I was old, I said, I just realized that, I guess the way I carried myself, and I was a little older than them, so certain things that I knew they didn't understand or they didn't know. So I said, I guess that's why they came to me.
And do you think too, a lot of sergeants and staff NCOs, they know they're going to be a lifer and they take on that hard by the book mentality. But if you got an NCO that's not a lifer, he's not as much as a hard ass. He's not going to give you shit for questions. One thing that is interesting is you're coming from Jacksonville and now you're in a cross section of America and you just seem to bond with all these boys from all over the country. Was it the Marine Corps that bonded you and just the fact that you were all sticking up for each other as Marines?
It was just one of those things. And I told him, I said, it come from the heart. I'm for real,
You cared. They had your back and you had theirs.
Because one of our main things, what I would say, there's no black and no white. We are green and we believe red. That was one of my main things I would say. And they will remember it now. A man is a man, well, no matter what color he is. So I didn't play that game. They can't say that I pick you or pick him because he's a different color or whatever. As long as he did what he was supposed to do, that was it. He deserved what he earned.
Sounds like you really like that about the Marine Corps. That if you could trust a man, that's all that mattered. Knowing somebody has your back. And knowing they'll fight for you. I mean, from the stories I've heard, just to hear your guys talk about how you get a headshot or you get somebody with a knife and your guys look up to you so much that they're like your little brother. I want to be the next one to do that. I want to do it next. Can I have the next try? It says a lot. You guys definitely seem to have in your squad a tight bond.
Yep.
Enough so that when I started this project, guys from other platoons would talk about how tight the Dirty Dozen were.
So we was tight. We was very tight. If they said saddle up, second squad, first squad, whatever squad we was, as long as you're ready to go, I'll whisper in your ear. When you see me whisper in your ear, you better maintain. Simple as that. I said, you want to go home in a body bag? I'll help you get there now. Because I said, you know, I'll leave you out there in the woods. And they knew that. That's one thing I didn't play. When we was in 52, we was you know, as we came in and we was getting groomed, see, we played football. And we started playing football, and when I was running the ball, my knees were coming up like a horse. You know, some of them guys they kill themselves, tackle me, and they fall all off me because I was doing the Jim Brown on them. So they started calling me a horse. They go, "Oh, you run like a horse. You have to tackle them from the side."
And did the movie Dirty Dozen, which came out in 1967, I think, influence kind of the name of your squad because you were like Jim Brown?
Oh, not really. It just the way the picture was made, it just made me think of the Dirty Dozen because we had a few killed, and then we had to bring everybody together, and it wasn't always 12 all the time. See, and I said, well, we gonna be the Dirty Dozen. And everybody just went right along with it.
So you're talking about you coming in contact with a lot of small patrols of enemy because of Charlie Ridge and the Arizona. You guys are there to interdict the enemy coming down Charlie Ridge. And so just describe the Arizona and Charlie Ridge for me and your patrols up there.
Well, they had that trench line all the way. I guess they knew we was coming, but anyway, after we crossed the river, they had a trench line all the way around, and it was a old house there or something, an old shed, or however they called it, and they lured our squad, our first squad, to that particular place. They was shooting from one side to the other, and they went in there for cover and didn't know that trench line was real close to them. So they had no chance from the beginning. When they went into that little alleyway, it was a little say for instance, you got a path that you go to. You take that path and you notice a traveling path. So when they got there, it was a cutoff because they had them surrounded. It was around, and they was by them shooting from the trench line. That's what got a bunch of us.
So they kind of ambushed you guys in Arizona.
True. If you want to put it that way, I don't know whether everybody would think like that, but we walked into a trap.
The way most guys describe the Arizona territory to me is that it was always a fight when you went in there, and it was the enemy's territory, the Arizona, and you were trying to stop them from getting in there. And can you describe, is that when you went into the Arizona, you knew you had to have your shit together, basically?
That's right. You had to have it together. You had to. And they fixed it. And one of the main things is they fixed it where they knew if it was close, we couldn't call in artillery.
Like calling in artillery, you said you would call in air support or artillery. Is there any times you remember doing that?
Yeah, we had gone off on Me and the lieutenant, well, I took the lieutenant out with me. And this was a time when we was, it was another place, Gunhead's, you know, when he go to the preparation room or wherever they go to get the data, this was another place he told me that I needed to check out. And it was away from the other, what you call it, the hill.
Hill 52, 25?
No, their hill.
Charlie Ridge?
Charlie Ridge. It was from the ridge, we went another way to me and the lieutenant, and we climbed up the hill and down another one, and it was a 5-finger waterfall. Beautiful place. Shouldn't have even been fighting. I mean, the water was just clear and shiny. A 5-finger waterfall. And we started, a new sergeant had came to us. He always talking about getting a silver star or bronze star. He wanted him a star because he had been wounded before, so he had a Purple Heart, but he wanted a star. And he asked, could he go out with me? I said, okay then. And the lieutenant, quite that's gunner boat, and said, well, you going on out with Sumpter. So we moved on, and I told the lieutenant, don't take your pistol, get your bullets.
Bandolier?
Abandon them and hang them across it just like you want one of a regular Marines. And so the sergeant, after we went up one hill and came down another one, we had to slide down easy. By the time we got down there, the point man balled up his fist at me and tell us to stop. So he did his eyes and pointed. So I got up to see what it was. And there was a gook with a tripod and a rifle pointed right at the trail where we was coming. But he was eating. He was having his lunch. But it took us a little while to get where we was going because we had to go up and come back down. And so the sergeant, he said, well, give me 2 men and we'll take him. I said, no, you won't. I'm not giving you nobody. And you are not finna take nobody. I said, he don't even see us yet. So he went to the lieutenant and said, my lieutenant, make him give me 2 men. So it's a gook sitting there with a tripod, automatic rifles sitting right there. I said, well, the lieutenant can't make me do nothing. He's attached to my squad. I'm in charge of my squad. He in charge of me when I get back to the hooch. So he didn't like it, but anyway, we pulled, one of the guys took off his belt. I told him, take your belt off, tie it to your rifle, and pull each other back up the hill. And we had, it was about 10 of us. And we had to pull each other back up the hill with that rifle. And so I said, Lieutenant, you want to call in artillery? I said, well, you can have that. So he called in artillery. And that's how we got out of that mess. The thing was, what the sergeant didn't understand, we were down all around. We was down this little hill. Now all they had to do was just throw grenades or just shoot everything in the little corner. We couldn't run nowhere because everything was going down. The only place we was going would be into that automatic rifle down on them tripods down there. He'd have just had to play toy with us. So anyway, the sergeant, I wouldn't let him go out with me no more. I said, no, you looking for something.
And who was this lieutenant? Was this one of the lieutenants you remember? Was he new and you were just doing training?
Actually, it was Lieutenant, what the hell was named after? Deneen.
So Deneen had just gotten there, and Staff Sergeant Bolton had you take him out on a patrol with you just to show him the ropes kind of thing? What do you remember about Lieutenant Deneen?
Well, he was a good person, and anyway, you know, he went out with me a couple of times. I told him the reason the hill was named after him because somebody else, when the guy shot and he ran out with the squad that was going out to catch him, and that's when he got killed.
Can you describe from like the beginning? So you guys are on Hill 25.
Yeah, and the guy.
And you had a sniper fire onto your hill?
Right, and. Lieutenant, it was just, I don't know what squad went out, but whatever squad, they saddled up and, you know, they went. But I told Lieutenant Deneen, I said, don't go out. I said, you don't need to go with that, because that's, what we going to run at him for? That guy wherever he is, he gone. He's not there. So, he wanted to go. I guess it was his time. He went anyway. He said, I'll be back. Don't worry. I said, okay. Went through the little exit we used to go out when we go out the side by the lake. So anyway, they went that way, and they told him there was a trip wire there, but I guess he didn't quite understand them or didn't hear them too good, Lieutenant Deneen. And then that's when he got blew up.
That must have been tough.
We were doing most of the things. If they need someone, we were right there to in other words, just stir up the bees in the honey. Because, you know, they send somebody out, didn't get nobody, or didn't see nobody, or some of them got hurt, they would always call us at that particular time and say, we got a problem here. And that's where my group, when he get ready to send us to really get somebody, he sent Bravo Sierra. That's why he was so covered, gun was so covered over me. He know it was a matter of business when we went out.
So tell me about the bet.
Okay, the bet was steaks and potatoes for Hill 25. That's fresh food. And 2 cases of beer for the headquarters. That's what Gunny had to buy, if he had to buy it. But steaks and potatoes, if I came back with the bacon, if Bravo Severe ever came back with the bacon, we're going to have steak and potatoes, hot food.
Who's making this bet?
Huh?
Who's this bet between?
Gunny and the what's the name at headquarters or whatever it is.
So Staff Sergeant Bolton on Hill 25 is making a bet with your headquarters at Hill 52.
Right. At Hill 52.
Okay.
Bravo Sierra is Burnell Sumpter. So he's going out. So he's going to bring the bacon back. So just have the food ready. He just knew I was going to. He said, if it's there, y'all going to have to cook.
What happens when you go out on this patrol?
Well, we sat there and waited on them, waited on the group. And you seen the one of the letters I took into the dollar. We just got the bacon. We sat there, and by the time right after lunch, here these guys come down and talk. So we had eyes that way. I had Pappy, pointing that way. And as they came down through there, and they made a little turn. Pappy, when I told him I said, you keep you stay that way, because if some more come down, then that's everything come by here, gonna be ours. Cause see, I had them on an L-shaped ambush, but that's how the land ran. So I had him on that L back there. So when they came down and went down this way and came down this way on that line, I nodded my head. When I nodded my head, boom, 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 it went off. But the reason we took the bazooka, because some of the places that, see, I had never been that far before. Some of the places I wasn't too familiar with. So when I would have my bazooka, I'd say, well, see what's in that tree line over there. And he would take it and see it'll blow up. Ain't nothing over there. Okay, we can keep going then. So that was another sign that I led it them. I wouldn't let my point man take it. I said, I'll take the lead because I want my man right here, my bazooka, because I want to show him these places where I'm not too familiar with, to make sure there's nothing in them bushes over there or in that tree line over there. And that's how we came back.
So on the way back, you were using it, because on the way there you couldn't use it. You didn't want to.
No, we couldn't use that. Yeah, on the way back we used it, for reasons that I just said.
Now, what was the haul?
There was an interpreter, the mailman, and a medic, because he had a sack of medicine and stuff. We brought that pistol back, and we brought the AK-47 back. And on another one, we brought a rifle and a AK-47 back. Yeah, right.
That with your company on Two Hills at the base of the Ho Chi Minh at the base of Charlie Ridge, you're interdicting all of the enemy's movement coming into the area. Sounds like your patrols were pretty successful, and you were seeing. You guys were a thorn in the side of the enemy in that area. Can you tell me what you remember about November 2nd before the attack, and then describe the attack?
Well, the only thing we remember that we got word that they was planning on retaliation. We did get that, and so I told my guys, I said, we got to be ready. You're gonna have to put. That's when I told them, posted them, that y'all put that other thing of bags on the top of your bunker, because we done, especially as we done mess with the mailman and the interpreter. So they said they gonna come this way, so we want to be ready for them. So especially especially y'all done ate them steaks and stuff. First thing I remember is when I heard a kaboom. That was when they threw them satchel charges in that bunker. And then tat 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 doom 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 tat 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 doom doom. And it was all on that side of the hill. So after a while, when they started coming on in, that's when Gunn and them went to the bunk to Pineapple and them bunker, and the lieutenant came down to my bunker. The radio man went with Gunner Bolton. At the time, we were just sitting in there running our mouth. When all the noise started, and the boom, kaboom, and kaboom, bam, zam, and all that, that's when he called. He said, Sergeant Sumpter, friendly forces coming down. I said, come on. So when he got there, and if you see my bunker, you can come in from both sides, because in most bunkers you come in from just one side. But I cleared the doorway. I just made a arch out of it. So I put woods on one side, and I was on the other side, and Sanchez was there, and then the lieutenant came down. So between Woods and Sanchez, I told him, I said, all right, now one load and one shoot, if we give out. And anyway, I put one to the peephole. So you take that one. And the lieutenant, I said, Lieutenant, I said, you load, I said, I'll shoot, and you load. He said, that's all right with me. So that's how it was. Woods had a chance to shoot one, and he fell right down, because I had a trench line right down on the side of my bunker. And this young man, well, all of them was young. Anyway, they know me now. When I nod my head, then that means you shoot. If I don't say nothing to you, you do not shoot that damn rifle. If you get hit in the head. Because they know how I am. Let that sucker come. He think you sleep or something. Blow him away then. Don't. And that's what happened. He shot him, and the guy fell down in the trench line. Young man. He was young. He just fell out. He had the rifle in front of him. He fell. Boom, boom. So I said, that's how close you want to do. Don't let him get away. One shot.
You guys only shot one person?
One person, because that we was on coming over this way. You had to come sort of down the hill. Wood shot. When I nodded my head, we wasn't putting no round. What we was gonna shoot at? Because all the camaraderie was around up there by the tower and the in the thingamajig pit.
So they're running right through the middle of the hill. The two bunkers on the left, or the north and
Right.
south, are kind of two bastions that they're avoiding.
Yeah, because we were sort of down the hill by the LZ, you know. They was kind of up by the tower. See, it was jungle over in there. See, they would get tangled up. It's no way in. When they had came, you know, when they put those ladders over that barbed wire where we used to go out, that's how they came in. And they started from there, going that way. I didn't need to come out the hole. I laid down and told my lieutenant, you load while I shoot, because I had to, our area was this way, but we had the peephole looking toward there. That's where Sanchez was, and that peephole. And they was mainly trying to get to that that thing, and that we had the gun on the wheels. That whatever they call that thing.
A recoilless rifle?
Huh?
A recoilless rifle?
Whatever it is, shoot them, you know, boom. It was on the wheel, so because we changed it around every night. So we had that up that way by the tower. So that's the one. That was a big worry about that, because them guys could have got some rounds off.
So majority of the enemy is not coming in front of your bunker. They're coming up the middle of the hill behind your bunker.
Right.
And so your guy that put the one round, it wasn't even in front of you. It was the peephole out the rear towards where they were coming from the rear. Okay.
I didn't even shoot that night. I didn't have to. I did not have to. I told you that who hit somebody when I nodded my head, because I wanted to make sure he didn't miss. And another thing I had them do too, you know, a lot of times they like to shoot automatic. After that first ambush, and some people got away, I was hot as hell. How did we practice that way? When we practice, what do we do? Shoot one round at a time and make sure you hit what you hit. Or what you doing? I said, what this man I said, why we help him carry his rounds if we don't use him? If we want to shoot all that, that's what he's for. And they had to kids do nothing but agree.
Did you have a radio? Do you remember hearing the transmissions? Mm-hmm. So how do you know? Describe when the artillery came in on your hill. What happened?
We had a code. They said something. They hollered. I forgot what that code was. But they said the word went around, cover up. So we knew what that was. We was going to call artillery on us. And we knew that.
And what happened?
Well, they gone ahead and called it.
What was it like to be on the receiving end of American artillery?
Well, we knew it was going to bust in the air, so that was the main thing, me telling them to put that extra coat of sand up there. We did it on my bunker because we didn't know, after we found out what was going on, we knew we was outnumbered then.
So the reason why you wanted your Marines to put more sandbags in their bunker was in case you ever had to call an airburst.
If we had, right, that's the reason why I wanted them to do that.
And you did. You did receive airburst that night to break the back of the attack. What was it like being under that? I mean, do you remember the feeling?
Well, I was hoping like hell to bust in the air. It was scary. You know, it was one of them things. And I was, I prayed, Lord, make sure it bust in the air. Let it shower, let it rain down. I told the lieutenant, I said, we got to kind of cover up, get away from the door. And we kind of, when we heard the guns go off, doo-doom, 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 and shit, we heard it coming. We heard it coming from the hill. We know they had said, oh, here it comes. So that was, and then after a while, after that bus, boom, 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 everything got quiet. So we come out of the hole and looked around. And that's when I looked at, you seen that tent where I showed you? Sure, wasn't nothing up there.
The command post was gone.
Yeah, that thing looked like it wasn't nothing, never there. A lot of stuff was just smashed because, and that, especially that hole they throw the satchel charge in, but it was just sandbags was everywhere, The tower had holes in it because we saw them shooting up the stairs, how they had the drum right. It was shooting up because we could see the tower from where we was, we could look. So they was shooting all up there at the tower.
So during that fight, could you see Marines and NVA or VC going back and forth? Could you see guys in the fighting?
No. With the way we was turned, I couldn't see all that. See, but see where gunning them was, they could see the hand-to-hand combat and all that kind of stuff, because they was that way and we was down this way.
What was it like when you came out of there? Was it chaos? Was it confusion? What did you have to do as a squad leader? Did you have to kind of get guys together?
I checked on my squad, and I think it was somebody, two got wounded, I believe it was, I guess. Anyway, everything was fairly decent, but the next day Gunny told me and my squad or something other to make sure they pick up most of the stuff and all that. So he always teased me that night about, you didn't get all the stuff, Sergeant.
So one of your squads in your platoon is completely decimated. Most of the men are killed, right? The men that were on the side of the hill that was attacked, most of them were killed. You lost 10 men that night, guys from your platoon.
I had been through that once before, so it was just, I was glad it wasn't none of my people too much. And to tell the truth, when they threw that thing in that satchel, in that bunker, I was angry with them because they had watched, they had come there and watched us for a whole 2 weeks, I think. We would come back off patrol and hear the bushes moving and hear the water, hear them jumping in the stream that was by us. They was watching our bunker. I told my squad, don't shoot over there, don't disrupt nothing too much. I said they don't want to come this way because we are active. So, because most of them just had something going on most of the time. You see them, kind of moving around busy.
You only had 10 men walk off that hill. You had 10 wounded and 10 killed, so you only had 10 men left in your platoon.
Right.
So you guys had to go back to Hill 52 to recuperate, right?
We had to go back to Hill 52.
So, I mean, what happens in your tour after Hill 25? After you guys get shut down Hill 25 and get sent back to Hill 52, what do you remember about your tour?
We went back to Hill 52, and that was it. Because, see, I did that other tour. I did another half a tour.
Why did you decide to sign up for an extra 6 months in Vietnam?
I really wasn't ready to come back to the state to be a Marine. I said, I might as well stay over here and fight. And when I go back, I'll be all right. See, I would have less time, so that's what I wanted to do. I picked up sergeant after that ambush.
After the Hill 25 attack, you picked up sergeant.
Yeah.
Then you signed on for an additional 6 months in Vietnam.
Right.
But with that came a 30-day leave home.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do? So did you leave Vietnam in December, right before they went on Operation Citrus?
Yeah.
Do you remember coming home for 30 days?
Yep.
What was that like?
To come home, I was happy to just come home. I said, well, instead of a lot of spit and polish, I said, I'll go back and fight. I was a fighter anyway.
So was it a low-key 30 days home, just visiting friends and family?
Yep, that's all.
Sleeping?
But I came here and throw the party, and we had a party, a going away party. I bought some weed home in my when I flew home, and I sold it. Guys tapping on my window, tap, tap, tap. Man, what you want? Let me have a little something. I said, what you come around here for? I tell y'all, don't wake me up. Get on away from here.
But was that your thing over there? Or you never smoked it to begin with? You smoked cigarettes?
I slipped some home, but I didn't. I sold it to give my big parties when I sold it.
When you came home on leave?
On leave, yeah. That funded my beer and liquor and the food that I had here.
How much did you bring home?
During that time, $1 was $1, and it didn't take much. I didn't bring but 2 packs of cigarettes home. And so that one cigarette cost you $2. So
$80. Two packs, 20 apiece, $80.
$80 during that particular time, back in that time. $80, good gracious. You go down and get a whole basket full of food. So it came in, boogaloo and all that stuff, and then I caught the plane on out.
Right.
I went back to Hill 52.
Okay.
It was another thing I went to after I got back. We went over there and I keep forgetting that hill name. I keep forgetting about Charlie Ridge. Because we crossed that water, I think, when I went back. I was trying to think, what was the last, since you got some notes, I'm wondering, we went on Charlie Ridge for and they left in this operation where we found a young man that they left. He got wounded, and they had them set up all around this young man, this VC, and he had a grenade in his stomach. I messed around there and looked over there and said, I said, hey man, what? They gonna go. How the hell y'all marching around here and didn't see this man? And he was, they thought they kind of covered up with some leaves, and it was up under a tree. I said, what the hell, this shit ain't over, what's wrong? I said, this is not over. Why are y'all roaming around here? And here go a gook, a wounded gook, sit right here with a grenade, you know, because when he pulled his thing back, you could see the grenade, but he was scared to pull it. I said, you want some water? I got a guy, and gave him a drink of water and took the grenade from him and gave it to one of the guys. I said, how in the hell can y'all be jumping around here and don't be looking? If he wanted to, he could have just blown up about 3 people sitting around, you know, thinking everything is over. I don't know what y'all was looking for, but you know, there again, they were just young.
Let's talk about the Tet Offensive. During the Tet Offensive, you guys get sent out to an area called Dodge City from Hill 55. You were at Hill 55, which is battalion headquarters.
Mm.
And they had been rocketed, and 3rd Platoon had been on a patrol where they were ambushed by a large enemy force on February 13th, 1968. You and your platoon respond. The whole company responds. Do you remember that day when Jim Hastings and Gene McCrossan were wounded and Sergeant Spare from your platoon was killed? Jim Hastings and Gene McCrossan were both shot up, and you carried them back to the...
Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I remember because when we came up, whoever was in charge called me. And all I could say, Lord, what did I done now? Because I was always, I opened my mouth. Because we had laid there for a whole hour or 2 hours, because we couldn't call in airstrike. We couldn't call in artillery, and couldn't nobody move, because there was a sniper. That was during the time that sniper was. Oh, that's when I grabbed them guys out of the trench. Yeah, that's when I met Chung. That's when I met Chung. Because when they called me up there with they laid the map out to Sergeant Sumpter, you done been in more operations than anybody. What's happening here? And I told him, I said, sir, let me go and assess this situation, and then I'll let you know something, because I don't know who's caught or how we went down. That's when I met Jerry. He said, what are you doing here? I said, well, the big man sent me here to find out what the hell going on. So he said, I got 2 wounded men, or somebody said that. So I said, okay. So I crawled down there and seen 2 wounded men. So I went and got, I don't know who I got first, but I got somebody out and killed him and gave him to somebody took him, whoever it was. Then I went back and got the other one. That was the little short boy. I snatched him up by his flight jacket. Well, I was big and strong then. I snatched him up by his flight jacket, and he hollered, "I said, shut the hell up. I'm trying to get you out of here."
So it was Jim Hastings?
So that had to be him, I guess.
Was his arm almost blown off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he was hit twice or something like that. So anyway, I got him out, and then we moved back. And they always told me I should have went on and got me a Silver Star or something for bringing those guys out. But I said, well, man, I won't be here that long. I'm going to get the hell up out of here because I ain't got a few more months, and that's what I did.
How does the rest of your tour go? I mean, you're on an additional 6-month tour. Sounds like you're about halfway through it at that point. What were the last months in Vietnam like for you?
It was regular for me. It just, after we went back to 52, it was just regular stuff.
So after the Tet Offensive, you guys left Hill 52, and you guys bounced around. In the report, it says you guys went to Hill 55, Hill 10. You went to An Hoa for a month to kind of recuperate after the Tet Offensive. So I can imagine that can be a blur. It sounds like you guys were bouncing all over the place.
The last memories of Vietnam that sees in my head is what the story I just told you, because everything else was smooth. That's when I didn't get hit with that. I told him I had seen death. You know, because that guy was, I mean, it was just a straight arrow. And I had noticed that about, just like I told you about that automatic rifle that was sitting on them tripod. It looked like the trails, they had, I don't know whether they cut them little trails out or there's so much movement. But you could tell the trails had been, so where they got caught in them holes where Chong boys was, it was just a straight shot. And once you get in that trail, ain't nothing but, oh yeah, a child, if he put him on tripod and shoot his gun, straight in that trail because it's right there. So I got back to the States. And that's what made me take that early out. We had been out on a bivouac, you know, for a couple of days. And we came back and Sergeant said, well, we want the yard raked up because the leaves was falling. So I said, all right, let's get this place all spruced up. And some of the guys took their shirts off, and some of them didn't. And the next thing I know, the colonel or whoever came up and said, y'all are undressed. You're not dressed right. We're rigging the yard. We're doing what you say. But he was talking about we wasn't dressed right. Said we all should have had shirts on, or we all should have had undershirts on. I said, this is bullshit. I said, okay then, I know how long I'll stay in here. Get my ass out of here. That took everything out of me. I said, no, I know. What? Because he had his shirt off. Two of my people had their shirts off. We raking up leaves, sweating and carrying on, and piling them up, putting them in, you know, sack to take to the garbage and all that. And then you're gonna send us back to the woods. That's what they did. Send us out for 2 more days. I said, okay, I know how this is going. I said, this ain't for me.
You know, garrison duty where everybody's
right.
by the book, uniforms. You're a bush Marine, right? You like in the bush.
Right. That's why I stayed to Vietnam. That's why. But everybody was hot, boy. I said, don't tear up the barracks because they're going to come in and do something else. Let's just go head on and go on out and take our punishment.
Was this on Camp Lejeune or Camp Pendleton?
Camp Lejeune. I was going to really stay in the Marine Corps because I said, well, I could make it in here. I'll be all right because I done had all the outside life I need. But when they came and did that, I said, no. So I closed the books on them.
So tell me, how do you feel about your service? Did it make you a better man? Did it help you discover who you are better in combat, knowing that you could handle yourself? You learned?
Not really, because of what I did right here. See, I was like a policeman right here, so everybody respected me. If I went and knocked on your door, he'd come, and if I told that man, he don't do that no more. I went to a couple of guys' house because somebody had said something to my sister. I said, you want to live, son? Mrs. Such and such, don't do that to my sister again if you want to live. And some of them told me, yes, sir. So I told you, I was a gangbanger from high school on.
Well, so what made you shut that off when you went into the Marine Corps? Did you understand the game and the way they played the rules and you just abided by that?
No, after I knew how things was, I knew how things should be. Like people had trouble, like when they came back. I came back to my old neighborhood. Everybody respected me. And a lot of them said, ooh, he's a Marine, he'll hurt you. So I was hurting them before I left. So they didn't want to deal with me no way because that means he hurt you worse. Now, since he's a Marine, he done had that training. So I didn't have any problems out of nobody.
But when you'd see like the stuff in the media and the privileged college kids causing a ruckus, did that ever bother you? Like, what are they doing? Looking down on men who served, did that bother you?
Yeah, it bothers me. I can understand, and I don't mind people fighting for their rights when they know the situation. They done level out the situation, then you should fight for your rights. But just to go and start doing something because something happened over here and you know why it happened? That's the main thing.
I mean, I always think about you guys and how it's your skin in the game. You're the one looking at the enemy. You're the one humping through the bush. You're the one getting shot at, and you're the one fighting for your friends. And then you come home and kids who have never even carried a gun are telling you you're wrong when they've never seen combat. They've never probably even been in a fist fight.
Right. And then they're going to tell you that you were wrong and what you shouldn't have done. I don't go with that.
Are you proud of your platoon mates? Are you proud of what you guys accomplished over there?
Yeah, sure. What little we've done it from the heart. And that's the best that you could do if you do it from the heart. You couldn't expect no better. Better than just hanging on the corner or just doing something else, stealing or breaking in something, selling drugs or something like that.
Well, I just want to thank you again for having me out here. It's been an honor and a pleasure getting to know you over the past couple of months and finally coming out here and sitting down and talking to you and learning about your life. I certainly respect you. And even though you didn't know it growing up, you know, it was men like you that influenced me to serve and love my country. It was the Vietnam veterans that I looked up to. So thank you.
Yes, I'm proud of my service, so, you know. Yep. Proud to be a jarhead.